G'day everyone. Welcome to Training with Chuck. Okay, so you might be thinking, what is evidence and what do we do with it? How do we collect it? Where do we store it? Alright, today I'm going to be teaching you exactly where it all needs to go and how you can collect evidence from crime scenes. So let's get started. In here, we're on the first floor and we have the lab and the evidence lockers that are stored in this room. But for now, I'm going to be taking you to the firing range just so you can see exactly how it is we can collect evidence from a crime scene. So I'm going to be able to show you one type of evidence, which is just going to be bullet casings, but all evidence is collected in the same manner. As you can see, I have no ammo. Okay, take two. I've got ammo now. So as you can see, when I fire my weapon, one, I've got gunpowder in my clothing, and two, if I grab out my torch, I'm going to see evidence on the ground that I've fired shots here, and they come up looking like these, bullet sleeves. Alright? In any shooting scene, you should be able to find bullet sleeves laying on the ground. Now take note, these numbers are not an identification of the weapon. So they are an identification of the weapon that was used. But you want to be collecting these bullet sleeves up from the ground. Alright? It goes the same for blood samples, which will come up as red. And if you go to a house robbery, you may see on objects, or even a stolen car, you may see on there a fingerprint ID. And you can pick them up in the same manner. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that, first of all, we've got empty evidence bags in our pockets. And they look like this. Alright, so you can see I've got 38 empty bags here. So when I'm looking at these, I'm going to flex my G muscle, and I'm going to start collecting the bullet sleeves on the ground. Now, in a scene, if you get a clump like this, you probably don't need to pick up every single bullet, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to be from the same firearm. You want to look for different locations where it may give away other types of firearms that were used, and you want to try and collect 1 or 2 of each type. But when we talk about filing later, we'll talk about storing these types as well. If you go in your pockets now, you'll see that I have collected evidence, as well as some from last night that I haven't yet processed. I've collected evidence that linked to a serial number, as you can see down the bottom there, 98QCK6ZW467ZRIZ. Now this will link back directly to the firearm that was used to shoot these bullets. So if you remember the first 4 letters, 98QC, and we go up to look at my firearm, you'll see that the serial number actually matches those bullets. Now this is how we can link individuals to a case. Alright, so we need to keep track of those. In this example, we're going to be showing you how to do a gunshot residue test on the suspect. These can be used to determine if the suspect has shot within the last hour. Remember, these shots can only determine if they've shot in the hour, and therefore cannot be a final judgment whether they were involved in the scene. It can just only raise suspicion or completely rule them out. To do so, you want to first of all find out their special number by flexing your F10 muscle. You can see here is 253. You then must let them know that you are going to be conducting a GSR test and ask for their finger. Sir, may I please have your finger to conduct the GSR test? I'm now going to conduct the GSR test on 253, like so. You'll see that it has come back in the top right of your eye, negative, and has not shot within that time frame. Now we are going to show you what it looks like when he has indeed shot, and we do the GSR test again. Again, we do the same process. Sir, may I have your finger for a GSR test, please? Thank you. You can see now that it comes back and shows positive that he has shot. An individual can remove these if they have swum in the last 30 seconds. Swum, and for at least 30 seconds to watch off the GSR residue. Now you're probably thinking, okay, what's next? I've collected the evidence from a crime scene. What do I do with this evidence? Well, the next process is to file an intelligence report about it. You can find this in the emails under the intelligence report in the intelligence section of the emails. But it looks like this, alright? And here we have our intel database. Now, you need to put as much information in here as possible to make it easier for detectives or any other officers that want to try and link cases together, okay? You'll notice that there's some new sections too, and there will be another one added shortly. You can see here it says bullet casings, blood samples, or fingerprints. Here is where you should be adding the bullet casing and then the serial number of that bullet casing next to it. This will make it easier for our detectives when they use the intel database to actually find out which bullet casings are linked to which gun. And in the future, we can link multiple individuals. So here you can see all of our reports or intel reports that have been provided to us. In here, I can just search, and although we don't have the bullet casing serial numbers, I can look for a name at the moment, and it will highlight any case that actually has linked John Ibrahim to it. We can use this then to link any cases with bullet casings or firearms, and then start to put a case together. So this is why this information is vital for you guys helping out the police force. Again, please make sure you put as much information in here as possible so that we can use it to file cases later or go to court. Dash 1. This room is located on the first floor of MRPD. You can also find stashes at Paleto PD, which will have stash 1, 2, and 3. So it's important to be aware of which stash you need to put these things into. Stash 1 is directly related to all individuals in the city that are not related to a gang or a known gang as of yet. This one's good for general crimes that generally won't have any follow-up. Stash 2 is more for gang-related items. You use this stash for putting away any individuals that are known a part of a gang, and will use the corresponding drawers to put away the evidence. Stash 3 is generally only used by detectives and things like that to put away specific things and keep track of. So let's have a look now at the actual stashes. So with each stash, if you look at the protocol handbook, which I'll bring up on my screen now, it actually tells you here the evidence lockers and the appropriate the drawers to be putting things into. So again, if you do not need to keep track of specific items, say firearms or things used in small-time cases, you are to follow this process here. All weapons are to be placed in drawers 1 to 10. All illicit substances placed in drawers 11 to 20. Stolen goods 21 to 30. Illegal equipment 31 to 40. Ammunitions 41 to 50. And proceeds of crime, cash, is to be placed on 51 to 60. Okay? So you need to make sure that you're following that. Now, if you're going to be doing a case, excuse me, if you're going to be providing an intel report, what you need to do is think about using the stashes that are above 60 and link it to it. It's also really important that you find a stash that's empty. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use those bullet casings I found in a case. I'm going to check case drawer 61 because I'm not known to a gang. Alright, as you can see, I've already got fingerprints in here with a fingerprint label here. Alright. I do not want to put any evidence in this drawer because it is already taken up by something and we don't want to get it mixed up. Then, if you look at evidence drawer 62, you can see that was taken, so let's find 63 maybe. 4. Okay, we've got a free one. Now we're going to link 64 to our case. So I'm going to put those, just one of those bullet shells with a serial number, okay? Because again, I only need one. So I've got 1, 2, 3 of the same. I'm just going to put one in there that now we can use to link to a case in future. In my intel report, I'm going to reference stash 1, drawer 64. My evidence is located in there, just in case detectives even or anyone else needs to come and find that evidence. It's really important that you put all evidence together if you're linking it to a case. So it doesn't matter about separating it. So for example, if this was used in a shootout and we also found a pistol and other items that were linked to it, just put all that evidence in the same drawer that links to that case. And again, reference that. When detectives have finished with that evidence, they will remove it for you and clean it up. With all other evidence stashes, again, making sure that you're using the corresponding drawers. You do not need to place in a particular order, but it is important that you put the right things in the right drawers, otherwise it quickly becomes messy and hard for people to track. So really what should be in this drawer, as it is drawer 1, should only be firearms or weapons. All these other items are incorrectly placed at this time. Any evidence bags that are collected should only be placed in any drawers above 60 that are linking to a case, because you've collected evidence to link it to a case. We're now going to look at what to do when you find evidence of suspicious substances on an individual. Anytime you find a suspicious substance on an individual, you do need to do testing on it to ensure that it is, in fact, a drug of any kind. To do so, you must bring it up to the laboratory, which is up here, again located where the evidence lockers are, on ground floor. Over here, you'll find some machines and some equipment that you can use to assist you in testing these substances. What you want to do, first of all, is you want to take out the substance and place a little bit of it inside a beaker. Once you've placed it inside the beaker, you then want to pour some of the testing liquid inside. Give it a good stir. And wait. This test shouldn't take too long. You should almost instantly see a chemical reaction start to happen. Check for the color change in the substance, and this will give you a positive or a negative result. The color will also determine what type of drug it is. You can see here, we've got a positive for methamphetamine. Once you've done this, you are then able to process your individual or user's evidence in your intelligence report. Right, now you know all about evidence, how to collect it, store it, and use it in an intelligence report. So go get them, officers, collect that intel, and help us catch them criminal scum.